Hello, everyone. Welcome to another show. Welcome to another instalment. Tonight we have a few guests. First in, we're going to bring in Dennis. Dennis is from the British Resistance Group. You've heard him before. Thank you for coming on again, Dennis.
Good evening, Nathan.
Uh, Thank you for coming on. Nice to speak to you again. Second one is Tanya. Tanya is also from the British Resistance Group. Most people will know Tanya and Dennis because of probably the most recent thing I'd say would be the Walk for the Veterans. Plus the
Yeah,
many other things that British Resistance do. We also have another special guest on tonight, and I'd like everybody to really please give him a big welcome. I believe I'm not sure if this is the first time he's come, but it's the first time he's come on with us. We have Christopher. Christopher is from another movement, and he's here tonight to speak to us about his movement, what they're doing, and basically to come to the table and how we can all work together. So, um, before I start with you and Tanya, please, Dennis. Christopher, could you just explain a bit about yourself, your group, and
Yeah,
what you do?
yeah, I can do. Hi, everyone. Christopher here from Freedom to Choose. So we are kind of local community groups that are primarily was put together for people that were coerced into taking the vaccination. So we're not anti-vaccination at all. Some of our members have been vaccinated, but they agree with our point of view is that nobody should be forced into taking these vaccinations. But nonetheless respect all those that do. So that's our movement. We have one in Clacton on Sea and we have one in Colchester. Friendly bunch of people, and we provided a few people with support, emotionally, support people that have been affected by job losses, again via enforced vaccinations. That's what we do at Freedom to Choose.
Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you for the intro. Gary Clark has just joined us, everybody. Everybody knows Gary Clark. Before we
Good
start
evening,
with Gary,
everybody.
Hi,
Dennis
Gary.
and Tanya, could you just please explain a little bit for those who have never tuned in before? Dennis and Tanya, can you explain a bit about British Resistance, why you were started, and what you were doing?
well, we started initially back in two, 2019. Yeah, we started basically in response to a certain religion, but as we started going down rabbit holes, like which we had been for many years, yeah, we realised it was just more than that. Yeah,
Yeah, well, there's a lot
yeah,
more.
yeah, like yeah, we started going down all the rabbit holes, and we just decided that what this whole thing was a worldwide problem and not just a national one.
You're actually very correct.
Essentially,
It is a worldwide problem. It's not a national one. I mean, most people, I think, they compartmentalise and they like to sort of diminish a lot of things because they well, it's just actually a national. It's just our problem. It's a thing. This is a global problem. Many things actually are happening nowadays are a global problem, and I think globally, I think us as normal people, everyday men and women, we need to start deciding. It's like back in the old days. It's like Gary to himself in a minute. I'm sure when he joins in. Um, our constitution and our society is based on the golden rule. So basically, there is certain laws of society that you can't breach. And we're currently in this position where we're actually having numerous, actually. Most people think it's one people, but it's not. It's actually a multifaceted thing. There's about at least two separate groups that we're actually moving around the world who have different ideologies, shall we say, to the people that are naturally living in certain areas, which is going to be you're going to have a conflict.
Yeah,
And the whole point is this is how we kind of have to come to the table, and this is the point. I think the world has got to the point now where the everyday man and woman person thinks you have no power, have no say, have no voice. In fact, you have more voice than any politician, any king, anyone you ever actually heard before. It is now time we all come to the table and we actually now start to all discuss what we're willing to accept and what we're not.
yeah, that's right.
Because at the end of the day, it has come to that point now where we've got to ask that very, 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 very simple question: is what are we willing to accept?
What are you willing to do
about
about
this
it
is
more
not
than?
about a certain religion. This is not about a thing. This is about the standard of life, the way we live, and the way in more so I'd say in the way we live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's that's what we come to the conclusion of. You know what I mean? This is a worldwide problem. Yeah, but at the same time, we wanna help our own people.
We support already the CMW, Freedom to Choose, and a few other groups as well.
Well, this
Trying to unite people, basically.
I mean, Gary will tell you himself. I mean, Gary's in it now. We absolutely our bread and butter is like the people we actually fight for, the very people that it's like. You've got to remember, the CMW, Constitutional Movement Worldwide, it's an educational movement. This is born from many, many, many years of protesting, fighting the government, bringing crimes against MPs and things. This is a product of many, many years, and we've realised one thing: it's like it takes a mindset and it takes a will.
Yeah,
And there'll be never one group, and this is what CMW keeps saying, and we do get attacked for this sometimes. We actually get attacked for it quite a lot. CMW are not going to lead the way because it's like we can't tell Christopher, we can't tell Tanya, we can't tell Dennis, we can't tell any of you what you should or what you shouldn't do. All we can do is lay before you the laws that you should be upholding. Okay, if you see the laws you should be upholding and what society its foundations are, and you chose to direct away from that, that's your problem. That's then you being counter to society. I think this is the main problem. I mean, we've had it a lot with a lot of our MPs, a lot of our ruling classes. I hate to say ruling classes because they don't rule a damn thing. Everything they do is with our consent. It's just they've taught us many, many years along the lines that not to realise how to consent and how to non-consent. This is the problem. I mean, it's like I think this is where Christopher comes in a bit because he's one of the newer groups. I mean, it's like I think Gary's boys. So I'll give you way a minute, Gary. It's like after Gary's photo, so I'd like to hear a bit from Christopher and what you've been doing and
Yeah,
because it's always nice to hear from a new group.
No, carry on, Chris. Carry on, Knife, because this ain't just about CMW. It's about everybody. Let's see what the other groups are actually doing. I mean, I'm interested. So crack on, Christopher.
When we can all realise this, that all groups are all valid, I think we'll get somewhere. So please, Christopher, can you give us just a brief rundown of your group and everything else?
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, we're not. It's very hard to say, but we're not political in any way. So we embrace and accept anybody. Our main focus was again freedom to choose. Primarily set up during this time when the vaccinations were coming in and the enforcement and the coercion of vaccinations. We was concerned that people's rights were being taken away. There were job losses and much more, including family disputes and everything. So we set up that group to support one another. So we don't take a political viewpoint in any way. So much so that we've had people coming wanting to do a talk from a political kind of group, and we say no. I said, if it's Conservative, Labour, Liberal, whoever it may be, let's just keep that to a separate discussion. But nonetheless, all of this does boil down in some way to politics, how we're being run. And my opinion is this: I would treat everybody as equal, and I think there's good and bad in everybody, and that is fact. Most of the time, it's how these people are being led. So it goes back to the governments, and obviously today it's not so much the governments; it's who's in charge of our governments. But maybe this kind of great awakening will bring more people together. Because if you look online today, there's people in India that are campaigning against WF and WHO, all around the world, different nationalities, different religions. This could unite people. And as you say, your common law, I'm not that too clued up, Nathan, Gary, on the common law. Maybe if the whole world was able to come under this kind of common law, because a lot of it sounds very peaceful from what I've heard, and just common sense, it would enable people to come together and less boundaries. Today, it seems to be purposely that we're all fighting each other, or the government certainly wants that to be the case. And maybe if we can, under, say, common law or something similar, and it allows us all to unite. And that's where we want to be. You know, we don't want any division. respect between us all.
No, no. Do you know what? Thank you for that, Chris. That was actually very well eloquently put, actually, and I think pretty much. I think you've just encompassed pretty much the underlying problem with all of us, really. That is it. I mean, we do common law, we do constitutional, we do trust law, we do various different things. But our point is at the end of the day, constitutional movement worldwide was set up basically to help bridge the gap between the knowing and the unknowing, because we are, as you said yourself, we are being led down a path by people that we trust, that are meant to be educated, and the reason why we trust them because they're meant to have a better education than us. But I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure you'll agree, Christopher, it's like politics. When politics falls down, and politics does, it affects every single aspect of our daily lives. I think we're all experts, personally.
It does, and I think you learn as you get a bit older that none of them are any good, really. I think deep down, to be honest with you, you left, right, blue, red, pink, whatever colour you vote, I think they're all useless, and something needs to supersede this system because they're all in it for themselves. I don't blame them. If you get the job, you get your expenses, and you're gonna take what you can get. It's understandable, but it's not a correct system for today's world, and they're causing so much tension. It concerns me. Going forward, there's so much tension out there, and things are ready to burst. So we do need groups. Say Freedom to Choose, which is very much right in the middle, and it's safe. But we need all different groups so people can join the group that focuses on their needs, their beliefs. But something to unite us all. Dennis was speaking about that. Is something that we can all come under would be a good thing.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, this is why me and Gary, we actually founded CMW because we wanted to go a different direction. We wanted to basically just be a source of education, basically. So if we teach the rules and the laws, so it's like your group, British Resistance, you can all attack certain aspects of society and politics in your own way. And I'm not being funny. It's going to be harder for them if we all do this. This is why we push this, because if you've got 30 groups attacking different aspects of one political group's reliance, they're going to find it very hard.
Yeah.
And this is what they do to us. They Crown authorities have split their authority. Not even authority, I'm sorry, but I've actually had it in court. I'm still going to argue this. The Crown institutions, I think would be a better word, have tried sort of whitewashing the whole thing to say that they've got everything covered. But I'm sure you'd agree, Chris. I'm sure you would, Dennis, Tanya, and I know Gary would. They haven't got everything covered at all. In fact, actually, I would say for the last 20 to 30 years, the political elite have not even bothered really looking at what the populace have actually feeling.
Because they don't serve the populace anymore. That's what it is. Because they are just puppets. They've all sold out to this new world order. There's a big agenda all around the world, and every government's sold out. They've all bought into it, and basically that's where they're trying to take us. But they didn't allow for people waking up. That's what they didn't allow for. They thought everybody would just stay in the slumber and just blissfully go along with it. But people started who'd got common sense, because that's all common law is. It's common sense. People started to see with common sense, hang on, this don't look right, that don't look right. And people have started to wake up and question it. And now these people are panicking like you would not believe. Because they can't answer the questions, because they're unanswerable.
So I think the biggest problem in I don't like to call them elites. I think the biggest problem in the parasites arsenal that they've found is because, like Gary, this is what we teach as well, because there is so much to common law and so much of the history. It's to understand how you're taught, basically, to put yourself in a position of harm. And this is why we teach no loss, no harm, no injury. If you actually know the history of your rights, what you can and can't say, the Constitution, certain bits like that, you'll understand that it's like even now in the courts. I mean, I fight through the courts, so does Gary. So Gary actually was the last one out of both of us finish your court case, was it not?
Yeah, that was
It
back in
raining.
April.
So I mean, it's like we're constantly doing it. We constantly keep going back to court, constantly keep taking cases out, and we're proving the same thing. But it all boils down to the same thing. It's like I don't care what the politicians, I don't care what the supposed royal family or the oligarchy royal families think. At the end of the day, and this is what CMW is about. If the majority of us live by a certain rule, then the minority have to. The
Yeah,
minority at the moment is the paedophiles, they're the elites, they're the things like that. These are the people that set up the system. Unfortunately, for the people who set up the system at the moment, we are getting a mass amount of people that have just basically come up against a brick wall. I'd say it's called natural instinct. You know when something's wrong, you know when something's nefarious. We could all hear and see a shift in society to the point where none of us are going to be happy. But this is where a lot of people don't realise. A lot of people at this point, they don't realise their power to be able to take it away from these people. It's like 61. Article 61 or Clause 61 of Magna Carta 1215.
Yeah.
And if I have to, I'll go through the whole history of Magna Carta again. And I'll do exactly what I did to prove it in court. And I do have Magna Carta unrebutted, 1215 unrebutted in the court order because they can't rebut back. Society has always moves on a different path to what these powerful people want. So what do we do to counteract this? What we do is we organise. And we organise under one umbrella. Now, I'm not being funny. Christopher, made you, it's like there's a comment you made earlier backstage. Was that CMW won't believe in anything. But CMW will happily stand shoulder to shoulder with every single one of you. Every single one of you. Okay, we move forward in one line and we don't move forward at all. Okay, yes, some of us know a bit more about certain things and we are trying to educate people, but I don't think it's far in the making personally. Once people realise, as long as they obey certain rules of the law, that they're allowed to do certain things, I think we'll see many different groups coalescing. I think we're going to see kind of a uniting of ideals. And this is the whole point, and this is why we're having discussions like tonight, because it doesn't matter about most of it. It matters about what basic things are we willing to accept.
But I would say the only thing, if you watch the videos, and I've watched the videos on the Reset and even the Great Awakening, currently there is nothing to unite everybody. That is the problem with everybody around the world. There isn't. A religion doesn't do it because there's clashes, color, sex, all of these things. There's problems. Whereas this one thing here, as I say on Twitter, because I use Twitter quite a lot, there's a lot of disgruntled people against their governments. And there's all different nations, all different colours, undoubtedly different religions and beliefs. Doesn't matter if they, whatever their sexual orientation is. This is a common thing that we're facing. That, as I said just 5 minutes ago, that can unite us. It's just how do we put it into a package that people can follow? So it has to be very acceptable to everybody. Does that make sense? We can't alienate people.
I do, but as me and Gary said many times, me and Gary go by letter law, so we can't change your rights, but I can tell you now, your rights overshadow what's being done to you. So when you say it's like they've attacked it in different bits, they've attacked it psychologically, they've attacked it sociologically, they've attacked it with media and stuff like that. When we talk about it, what we resort back to is our fundamental rights.
Are those fundamental rights? Everybody globally, does everybody have that fundamental right, no matter what country they're in? Does that make sense?
No, that question gets thrown out quite a lot. I'll let Gary answer that.
Yeah, but everybody is born with inalienable rights. It depends where you live in the world. In England and the UK, it's unalienable. Places like America, they call them inalienable, but they mean exactly the same thing. And these are your natural born rights. Can you hear me all right, Nath, by the way?
Yeah. Loud and clear. It's really good.
It's all right. Mr. Langs just texted me and said, speak up. That ain't normal for me. You know me. I'm normally telling me to quieting down a bit. But anyway, so you're born with these rights. They are to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Life, it goes without saying. Then you like your right to life itself.
Exactly. Your right to
lib-
your right to life is your right to life without any impedance,
Yeah,
any kind of interaction, any kind of
yeah,
I suppose what you call tyrannical oversight of your life. So basically, you're allowed to live
yeah,
free as you feel
yeah,
to. So you're free
Yeah.
to live the path you want to travel.
yeah. Then you've got liberty. Part of your liberty, the list. If you look at it, it's never ending, the list for your liberties. But your basic main liberties are freedom of speech, freedom of choice, freedom to travel the road, the Queen's Road unhindered, all stuff like this. And they can't touch these rights. Then you've also got a right to pursuit of happiness, which is the right to marry, the right to have children, the right to own property. All this is part
The
of
right
your
the right to pursue a hobby.
yes, and all this is your unalienable, your born rights, your natural born rights. But what these people have done, Christopher, they've come along and says, no, we've come up with Human Rights Act. Now, this Human Rights Act, which everybody's now following, is the worst thing you can follow because now they've took your natural born rights off you. Well, they haven't took them off with people that are agreeing to give them up because they're saying Human Rights Act this, Human Rights Act that. And then
Well,
what happens now? 2 seconds,
seconds.
knife. Then what?
Let
Go on,
me
then,
just think. Give me 10 seconds, right? What Gary's saying is basically, if I was come to you, to Christopher, and I was to say, right, you've got unlimited rights, but I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
I'll give you this benefit, so I'll give you this, and your benefit, if you reduce your rights and you just go with what I'm saying, you'll feel like you benefit now.
Yeah.
You'd probably do
So
it, wouldn't you?
basically,
Like people on benefits, like the people who are getting free money from the government at the moment. It's all right now. They don't realise there's no such thing as free money. It gets paid back.
No.
but basically, what you've done, you've given your unalienable rights away, which are your God-born given rights,
Yeah.
which they can never contravene, they can never take away from you, they can never do anything to them. You can't give them up either. But what they've done, they've sort of slipped their own Human Rights Acts next to it, which because it is their creation, they can now come along and say, oh, well, you've interpreted it that way, Christopher, but we don't interpret it that way. We interpret it this way. And this is what is wrong with Human Rights Acts. It's open to interpretation. Like example, migration. The migration could say is impending on our indigenous unalienable rights. Why should we have them if we ain't got food and that for ourselves? The Human Rights Act will come along and say, no, well, forget about that. This is open to interpretation when you're using our rights. What about these people's rights? We've all got inalienable rights, every single person. And just because they think they've got a right to come here, we've got a right to refuse them, just the same. Because we've got inalienable rights as indigenous people to this country.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And this is what people are missing. This is where people are missing, Christopher. They're missing the bigger picture. Yes, in the big scheme of things, the Human Rights Act sounds wonderful, but it's not, because it takes away individual rights, because then you're looking at groups of people, etc., not your individual right as a person, which we have all got.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say any rights that are codified, and I've said this from the day one, okay? When you code something, you're hiding something.
Yeah.
So why would we want our rights codified?
But it sounds like when you explained your rights initially, that your God-given rights that you're born with, you only need those, but you do need, I mean, my opinion would be that you still need a set rules that one needs to adhere to. You are free to do what you wish within reason, common sense reason, of course. But
Yeah,
you still
but this is where you
we have them in the UK. Technically speaking, take the legalese out of it, and
Mm.
they try it because that's all personally thing. If you take it away, law in England, and it always has been, and it's different from mainland Europe because mainland Europe's been the complete opposite. It's basically like in mainland Europe with France and Rwanda, because France was the oppressor. That's where we get most of our oppressive laws from, believe it or not. No, France was the oppressor. It was a case of you're not allowed to do anything unless we say you are. Whereas in England, the United Kingdom, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and England, for centuries, and I mean thousands of years, it's been a case of every man has the right to his own destiny. So therefore, you can do whatever you want as long
Yeah.
as it doesn't breach.
I've lived in both countries, so I know how tight France is. Yeah.
basically in the UK, you've got a constitution that's there to protect everybody, and it basically means as long as you cause no loss, harm, or injury to any other living man or woman, then it's a good one. Job's a good one. In other words, if the police pull you over, Christopher, and say, right, blah blah blah, you say, right, where's the victim? Yeah, but you've just run a red light. But where's the victim? There's been no victim. There has to be a victim under common law for you to be charged with anything. If there's no victim and they can't prove a victim, they can't pull you over. They can't just say, well, you've just you've just run a stop sign up there. Yes, you may have run a stop sign and you get a fine for it, but they can't start running you over the coals because you've run a stop sign because nobody was injured. If somebody's injured, then there's a difference. If you run a stop sign and you cause a big accident, then that's a big difference to that.
I'm just saying, we are not advocating running stop signs. What Gary's saying is basically it's like going about your daily business should not be a crime.
But most people would want to adhere to that anyway. Most people, if they did go through a red light and were stopped by the police, would probably say, I'm really sorry, I didn't realise that. And that would be the end of it. Or as Gary said, you may get a fine and you take it on the chin. You'll be annoyed and go home grumpy, but you'll just say, that's the law. That's what's done, and it's done for a reason. You know, I've had a speeding fine probably in the past.
Yeah.
You pay it, you accept it, and it's these things are for the good of the people, so it looks after us.
Yes.
You know,
this is what we're saying. There's adequate laws, acts and statutes. Some like speeding, running traffic lights, this, that, and the other. Going 13 or 20 by a school, all these things, yes, they have to be there because it does protect lives. And if you break them rules, you get charged by them rules, and nobody's arguing that. But then there's other things like during the COVID when they were saying, where are you going? I'm going to walk down the park with my wife. Oh, I don't think you are. Well, I think I am actually, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. That's what we're saying.
I know, Gary, you said you've seen yourself, and not being funny. It's like, yes, I mean, they don't just bow down in the first instance, but you've seen me do it enough times throughout lockdown. It's like, I'm quite happy for a constable, and I'll say this, okay, a constable is well within his rights if he believes that I have broke the law to come and address me.
Yeah.
Problem with that constable is when it's proven, and I can prove because I've got high court judges and I've got the rest of them, that I know the law better than they do, then at what point does that badge that constable seems to think that gives him total authority? And by the way, it doesn't give him total authority. I'll say this now, okay? This is my position in court, and it's been upheld in court. It's never been rebutted. I've never voted, okay? So I do not come under the Representation of the People's Act, which is the main thing they use. I have not acquiesced any of my rights. So you have to deal with me on a one-to-one basis. This is the problem I find with courts. When you know your jurisdiction, and if you actually know how to create a jurisdiction, they have to deal with you one-on-one. They don't deal with you as a populace because jurisdiction is singular. It's not plural.
Yeah.
And this is what people need to learn.
Yeah. And if you use your unalienable rights correctly, which you know I have done, and it's all on my wall from 2020 right through to recently, all through the lockdowns when you was locked in your houses, nobody's going anywhere. I still went to Belarus during the lockdown. They couldn't stop me going because I've got rights. But it's just knowing how to uphold them and how to use them. That's all it is. It's only looking up and learning what they can do, what rights they are, and can that be touched or can't that be touched. And when you read them all up and you're confident enough to say, I can go here and these can't stop me going because I can do this, this, and this, and I'll take them to court as an individual for contravening, not the government, not the police force, the constable or the sergeant who's stopping you going on that train or on that bus. Take them to court and say, right, you've just contravened my inalienable rights. You owe me, example, you owe me now my flights, my insurance. This,
See,
that, the other.
this is the problem with your alienable rights. There is no price, so it's whatever price you put on it. So it's a kind of I don't know.
Well, I mean, my opinion is this. I mean, all of these common law, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just an ordinary person, you know, ordinary job and whatnot. I didn't come across common law. I wouldn't have had any interest to know anything about common law until we started, probably a bit before for me, but let's just say 2020, when this COVID situation, lockdowns, as you said, Gary, and enforced vaccination, then it triggered my interest. Yeah. But don't forget, there's only a few of us that can actually see what we're seeing. Whether or not we're right or wrong, we don't 100% know. And I really hope that we are wrong, to be honest with you. But
I would just like to intervene, Christopher. Yeah. Most of what me and Gary have said, we've proven in court.
No, that's fine. I'm not sure. I don't mean that I'm doubting what you guys are doing.
No. It's not for you, mate. It's not for you, mate. I'm just talking because a lot of people will think after this they're going to attack your comments as well as ours. But it's like
that's fine.
I can actually prove with court orders, with the judge actually writ the court order with what I state about Magna Carta, Bill of Rights and things like that. It's like we've been doing this quite a few years.
What Christopher's trying to say, Nath, is when he said we can see it, he's on about what the government are doing. That's what he's on about now, not what we've done, what the government are doing.
You are quite right. I'm saying we can see what they've done so far. I can only see it, unfortunately, getting worse. And as it gets worse, more and more people will, let's just use the term wake up. It will affect their lives. So when they have their houses taken away or land taken away, cattle, and it's happening now, the farmers in different countries. As I said, I'm seeing people all around the world, different countries, different nationalities. They will need something to hold on to. And again, you know, whether or not it's this concept you guys are pushing here, this idea, or something else, we need something to be ready for when the masses start getting desperate and looking for something to help them. Because some people can't see what we can see and what's going to happen. Only a few people are awake to it. So most people are going to take on board what you say, Nathan, Gary, but it may just go in one ear and out the other, no disrespect. But soon people are going to have to listen up to what you guys are saying and take notice.
It always does, Christopher, but you've got to understand what me and Gary are pushing has been common law. And the reason why I say common law is because it's common laws for all society. So if society
it's not our idea.
These are common laws.
I know.
But I know. But it's like it comes through no matter what, even if the world descends into chaos, eventually we're going to go back to these very same laws.
But you're sharing it. The important thing is you guys are sharing that. So you're taking the time to put it out there. Otherwise, it just sits in dusty old folders somewhere in some old museum as such. So
you're not far from the point, actually. Most of this was meant to be consigned to a museum. The people that are in charge today don't want us to know that our precedent. They don't want us to know our life. They don't want us to know that thousands of years have been built on certain foundations. They don't want us to know this.
No, I agree. Yeah.
But they are changing legislation, Nathan, as you know, as we speak. They're changing it all the time.
Well, Gary, how many times have we used Section 3 and they've changed Section 3 now? So they're changing the parameters of Section 3. They can do that because it's an act. They can't change the common law aspect of it because I will still use the common law and it still overrides everything they can bloody well do.
Yeah.
But it's like Section 24A is being changed. Things like people don't look at the amendments. People just look at things. I mean, there's 30 amendments to Section 24A alone. I still haven't actually got through them all and understood them all yet. And I've only been doing it for a couple of weeks. I mean, so all these common law constables and all that lot. What I'd ask, and I would really ask this at this point, please, before people just like grab something and run away, understand how much harm you can create to others in your society. Think about it.
It's like
Think about what's lawful.
it's like this October thing they're pushing now, right? People need to be very, very careful when they're selling. Cancel your direct debits, this, that, and the other. Be very careful what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen, because you're going to play right into these people's hands. Because they'll just bring legislation in where they bring a third party in for the direct debit.
Thank you, Gary. Chris,
Sorry, no.
Tanya, Gary, do you mind if do you mind if I just take 5 minutes to go off on a tangent so I can speak about this, because I want to be saying.
Yeah, go on, Nath. I'll let you carry on. Go on.
Right. I shall digress. Right. So, a celebrity on national TV, the only reason why he's on there is because he's deemed acceptable, asks you to do something. Now, I'm going to break down what this person's asking you to do, because many people have been messaging me on my Facebook and everything like that. So I'm going to tell you how this is going to affect. I mean, I'm not being funny. I've never been wrong. I've always been right. I'll tell you what's going to happen. What's going to happen is, what's been asked is that you cancel your direct debit and you pay by cash for what you use. Now, everyone's going to go, oh, that's blinding. I'll tell you how they're going to use it, because they've been using it. I mean, Gary and CMW, and before that, Dragon, everyone else, we've been doing this for like 20 odd years. We know what they're going to do, and I'll tell you now. They're going to watch how many people stop that direct debit. They're going to watch how many people pay whatever. They have already got in the system. You've got to remember as well, it used to be bail out, so a lot of people realise this if they've really paid attention to their banking and everything for the last few years. It used to be bail out. Unless you bailed out, your money could be borrowed by the banks. Okay? It's now changed. It's now bail in, so it's a case of you have no choice. It is literally you have no choice. Okay? So we have banks. If banks set up a direct debit, now I'm going to ask the audience here, I don't want you to comment, I just want you to just sit there and think. How many times have you tried changing a direct debit with a government authority and it's never happened? What's happened when a government authority have decided that you owe money and it just gets paid by a third party contract? We're already there, people. We're already there.
Exactly.
It ain't going to take too much longer. So when you got about TV licensing and direct debit, things like this, understand TV licensing, we can deal with that. I can deal with that without a direct debit. I can deal with that before we even get to the point where you pay money. But for some reason, these government bodies, these people all over Facebook, they want you to refuse payment. Why? Why would they want you to refuse payment? Oh, okay, again, in commerce and in contract law, to refuse payment is to breach a contract, isn't it? Oh, yes. And then what happens when you breach a contract? Yes. What you have is the full force of the contract comes in weight against you.
Yeah.
But what happens if we don't breach the contract? We answer the contract with a lawful solution, and what you call, I would say, well, actually, every time I go in court, what you call a lawful conflict. If there is a lawful conflict to the way either they are raising the money, accepting the money, or recuperating the money, there's a problem. But it's going to take us to actually uphold that, and actually look at that and go, do you know what? We're not having this. Like I said, we can all do the all do the thing where it's like, oh, well, I don't know. let's boycott so and so. I mean, Gary, I'm talking about what? Good nearly 10 years ago now. Remember when we stopped LBC for 6 months?
Yeah.
6 months, LBC could not broadcast.
No.
How do you do that?
I'm not going to say it live on now, but if you're willing to do it, we're going to do it again. If you and your movement are willing to do it, let's start bringing these people down.
It can be done.
What you don't do
It's the
is you don't
same.
broadcast to these people what you're going to do, because what most people do is like when they go, we're going to do a march in London. You're telling everyone. Right now, me and Gary will prove the fact that you don't need to tell them anything. Okay, me and Gary went to Scotland Yard to lawfully petition. Now understand the words lawfully petition. Okay, it would be under protest. Okay, and this went to court case. Okay, me and Gary went there. I was arrested because someone walked forward and gathered with me and Gary, so therefore there was more than 2 people gathered. Okay, I went to a massive court. I went for magistrates. I went for thing. I went to High Court appeal. Oh, fucking lot. It's all disappeared. One, there is major, massive points of law what I raised, but I'll say this: there's one thing. Consent. Can only you tell me when you consented? I can tell you when you have consented, but what you don't know is the fact that you can reconsent or you can abstain. Abstain being the biggest word, one of the biggest words of the church actually, but you can abstain with your own volition. A lot of people don't realise this. I said, we can force the government as long as we all unite. It's all of us, not just a few of us.
A change in circumstances can lead to a re-evaluation of the people.
Exactly, Gary, and that's what we're trying to get to. Right, I'm going to leave with Gary. Right, Gary, can you do me a favour? Can you explain what you're saying there? I'll just 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Basically, like when we vote, this is where me and Nathan have never voted with, and we've always said voting is not the way to go, especially in this day and age with the tyranny and the oppression and the corruption. Because basically, when you go in that booth and you put your little X in the box and you post it in that box, you are saying to the government, there you go, for the next 4 years, you've got my permission to do whatever you want that's best for me and the country. And that's why you've never been told about the Barcelona Declaration. All these declarations I put the other day, the Maastricht Treaty, the Marrakesh Agreement,
Lisbon.
The Lisbon Treaty. All these treaties you was never told about because the government see it that, well, you voted for us to be in power for 4 years, so you gave us the permission to sign that treaty on your behalf, even though you haven't, and they should really tell you that they take it different way. All they need you is to go in that ballot box and vote on that day. Once they get in power, they don't consult you on anything else till the next time they want to be put in power. And that's the way it goes, unfortunately. But that's because we've allowed it to go like that. And Mr. Lang always hits a nail on the head when he says, and you'll hear him say it very many times, that if your vote mattered, you wouldn't get one. And what's the other thing he always says? I've just had it on the tip of my tongue. Basically, he's more or less saying that they don't need your permission once you vote. Once you vote, you've already consented and you're giving your permission that you'll comply with absolutely everything that they're going to do. And they don't. That was what the other thing he always said. They don't do what's best for the people. They do what's best for them, the country, the people who are running the country. Because the country will always be here to be governed. The people will come and go. So that's why they always make sure that whoever's coming into power out of them parties is going to have that infinite power. In other words, the people ain't going to be in a situation to be able to take it back in their eyes. But we are in a position to take it back. And all we all need to do is go into Article 61, do it lawfully and peacefully, get the barons involved, and people who say, oh, it's bullshit, this wasn't done, it was done. If you look, 2001, in March, the barons invoked Article 61. Now, two things happened there. It's either still all in force, which they went and did and invoked it, or the barons, who are the House of Lords, the highest law in this land, have gone and made themselves look a total bunch of plebs by trying to invoke something that no longer exists. Now, I know which one I think it is. It's because it's still all inclusive as it stood, and they've invoked it, and they've been waiting. Basically, what they did, Christopher, 2001, the barons went to the Queen and went, there you go. We've invoked Article 61 because you have now committed high treason by trying to take us into the Nice Treaty. And that was them. And that was them basically saying to us, there you go, we've just invoked Article 61. What do you, the people, want us to do about it? And we all just went, nothing. Because we wasn't clued up like we are now. If the barons went there now and did it, we'd all be right behind them. But unfortunately, it's already been invoked, and we're the only ones who can back it up now. It can't be invoked again because it's already been invoked.
No,
but we can all now.
That is it.
Yeah.
Like with our accusations against Star and things like that, it has never actually been brought to trial. They've never actually brought to account. So therefore, I don't understand why people seem to think that just because CPS didn't take it, that it's invalid. It's not.
No.
We can make it valid.
Yeah.
How will you do that?
How do we do that? We actually get the people to actually back and actually show willing to want a resolution to certain crimes and investigations. This is a problem. This is where you've got. It's like this is why I like groups like Dennis, British Solicitors, a whole lot. We are starting to get groups come together now that will demand answers. If we can, and it will take us all individually, and I swear to God, there's no way we should be one group. If we all, as different groups, start coming together and demanding accountability, it will happen. But the only time it will happen is when we demand it and we stay there a distance.
Yeah.
I've never voted personally.
I'll tell you one that we should all get behind as a tester, and that is, it's been there a lot longer than ours. It's been on the mainstream many, many times, and that is Justice for the 21.
Yep.
If everybody in this country got behind Julie and Brian and Luddy and all of them, and Justice for the 21, and everybody got behind them as a nation and says, right, the people are speaking now, not just a few thousand, the whole of the country speaking. We want this sorted now. You watch how things would go if that happened.
Yeah. I will say this, to this day, I keep meaning to get Gary, I keep getting meaning to go there for the Justice 21, but I have a lot of life, certain bits going on right now that I just can't, but I will do. As Gary says, it's things like that. When you take a cause like that and you understand its root cause and why it's there, stop all the bravado, stop all the media and that lot. Why was that situation built? Justice for 21 people who, what happened? And then expand that.
Where was the justice? And that's why you're where you are still now, because the police know exactly what went on that day. I've been on enough of the rallies. The police knew exactly what went on that day. They know exactly who's to blame, but they won't do nothing about it because they've already had their. They want to just push it under the carpet now. But we should, as a nation, say no. That's not happening. The Justice for the 21 should be in everybody's heart, and that should be the first one we put to bed. Then once you do that, say, right, Where's the next one now that's got injustice? Right, we'll all get onto that one. And when
I'm
you
sorry,
realise
but-
the power you have,
and Phil will come for that. But look, in the day, what I'm saying is basically, truth of the matter is, I've been asked this now to the point where it's getting silly. So I think the best thing to do is, there's a public gallery, so I'm going to start opening up the court cases we go to, Gary. I don't see you having a problem with that.
no,
People want this.
That's
If
good,
they
isn't it?
want to go, if they want to go to court and watch us how we speak and how we act and what goes on with the court, then we're going to start opening up things. But it's not opened up everyone. You have to be able to decorum in the court, and you have to be able to do things properly. But if you're wishing to learn, I think we should open this up more. We're going to do. Me and Gary was going to do court days. We was going to do train days with certain bits. Basically, it's like in a nutshell. If you want
We're
to go
going
up
to do mock
against
courts.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's like with the court stuff. Basically, it's kind of a trying day. So if you think you're good enough to go up against in the court, and if you think you're good enough to win your case, we was thinking about doing a mock court scheme, so we could try and annihilate any. Because this is what me and Gary do. It's all we do. Before we go to court, we sit there for a couple of months beforehand, and we annihilate every single aspect of our argument, pretty much. And you do, you set out to disprove, you don't set out to prove.
Yeah.
And that's why me and Gary have been successful, because between me and Gary, we're talking about so many cases now. I think, Gary, me and you have been going for so long now.
Yeah.
Little cases to high cases, high court of appeal, down to little cases, down to an information desk, and them not fucking realising that they haven't actually got the power. There's a lot. This is the whole point about sharing. It's like Christopher, it's like with your group. I mean, you're wanting to move forward, yes?
Yes, yeah, we'd like to. We're purely just to help more and more people. So
Yeah.
that's what we want to. Yeah.
Are you happy with? I mean, me and Gary are not going to tell you what to do, but we can put every bit of information in front of you, so you've got the path to where you want to go. It's things like that.
When you say where I want to go, in what way, Nathan? Sorry.
I don't know. That is down to you. Like I said, it's like we can't dictate to you what you want to do. All we can do is advise the best way of going about it.
What we'll do, Christopher will say, right, Article 61 is the way to go because of this. Like we've just showed you, but we'll go into more detail and we'll say these are your options under Article 61. That's what you can do with this. This is what you can do with that. This allows you to do this under Article 61. Them are your options, and then we'll say, right, now it's up to you which way you want to go. What do you want to do? If you want to do this way, or you want to go a different way yourself. But we don't never say this is the best way to do it. Well, you've got to do it this way. We'll just say it is the solution, but it's up to you whether you want to do it that way. But this is the way we would do it. And there's other ways you can do it this way, this way, this way. But under Article 61, you see, you've got the protection.
Well, all I'd say to you guys is that people's rights and freedoms will be diminished bit by bit. And as I say, they are being, we know, but more people will realise that, Nathan. I think what you're talking about is fine, and literally for a group like ours, we can offer that information out to people. Whether or not they want to take it, absorb it, respect it, is their choice. But I don't have any. It doesn't have any. It doesn't have any adverse. I don't believe. I have to speak to my committee members. Kind of effect on us, and it is a good bit of advice for members. So I wouldn't have any issue on what you guys have spoken with regards to the knowledge of the common law.
Well, basically, what it is, Chris, basically, what we try and do is we try to forearm you, because you know the expression forearmed is forewarned. So we try to forearm you. So if we can teach you, or we can help teach you sort of like certain maxims or points of law that cannot be breached by them or you have a better foundation.
It's an invaluable tool, and I reckon a lot of our members would want to know more about that, Nathan. Yes, yeah.
I know, and we do it for free. And I can honestly say, Christopher, it's like We are not the quickest. We're not the greatest. I mean, we do everything for free. Literally, everything we do is for free.
That's kind of you. Nice of you to do that. Yeah.
Because the thing is, some of us really actually care enough that we are just like sick to death in the
Well,
world.
I think we all do in our own little way, even if we've got different viewpoints. We're doing this. I don't do this for money. I do this because I do care, and I've got a very good, community of people that I like and I need. I need them as much as they may need me. So.
Well, that is a solemn promise, and it is a solemn promise that most people don't realise, that you need the benefit and the coercion of your society for you to prosper.
Yeah, we do. I think that's important. We
Unless your fellow man will back you, will never prosper.
Yeah, and I think what's nice about our group is different ages, everybody different background, and it's brilliant. I mean, we've got a common cause that we are there to support each other.
Well, this whole point about CMW and just like the common cause and education is like we understand that most groups have a kind of a reason why they got involved. But we have a common core value, and when we can get everyone doing that, massive things.
It's getting that, isn't it? I think it's that getting that common core value, Nathan. What you're saying, that then can spread nationally. So all groups like us or Dennis with the British Resistance and other people can unite under that one banner, and that would be a remarkable thing to do. That's a tough challenge, but it's going to be.
And this is what Bishop. Sorry, interrupting. This is what British Resistance has been trying to do all along.
It's nice to hear from you, Tanya. You need to speak more.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, I got knocked out, but
Tanya.
I am here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I was just going to be digressing, sorry, as well. I've never actually voted myself, but as I understand it, if you don't, and you don't ruin your ballot paper, isn't that consenting as well? I'm just learning as I'm going along. I only actually joined British Resistance last year.
Any acquiescence to what they do is consent. So I don't destroy my ballot paper. So I just remove myself. I just don't take part in it.
Right. Okay. So what do you mean? You on the electoral roll or you off?
No, I'm not on it.
Yeah.
I've never voted. I've never been on it. They have never been able to. How can I say? Let me do this in legal terms. They have never allowed to assume legally that I've acquiesced to anything they've said.
Okay.
I have what you call by proxy argument in law.
But we can all get there, and we can all get there. And I think like with Christopher, I'm sure everybody sitting here now will agree that far more important than the money for any of us, the reward will be when we're all sitting there and our children and our future generations have got their freedoms and their liberties back. That for me is more important than any amount of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, a lot of people go on about money, and this seems it's sole focus, and that is that is the sole focus of the people doing this to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever happened to be, I'm not being funny. It's like, I don't know. I have some extreme hobbies. I do bushcraft. I do things like that. But whatever happened to just having a full belly and a full heart? When did that change?
Exactly.
So if me, like Tanya, we did it the other week. If we all get together, we do that little walk. We all feed together, so we all eat together.
Yeah.
We all jolly together. What beats that?
Exactly. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, anyway.
But just for me, like I did try to get our Freedom to Choose warmly connected to, say, Stand in the Park or Yellow Board movement, but it was so difficult to find that common denominator that resonated or meant something to everybody. And I think it's just getting something together as soon as we can. So then the government know that we all exist. We're not criminals. We've got a different opinion, but as soon as we all come under one banner, then the government may choose to, whoever we choose as the lead person or however you do it, may take time to listen to us. We might be able to change how the government is run for the better, you know.
Basically, Christopher, what you just said is basically if the populace decided they're not going to run with what you call the mainstream media and the mainstream political narrative, then it stops.
Yeah.
Literally, it stops.
Mm-hmm.
That's it in a nutshell.
That's the amount of power you hold and every single person in your group holds. That's the power British Citizens Group hold. That's power CMP. All of us in all our groups have all got opinions that we'd like to push beyond others. But me and Gary have been doing this for what, 20 years now? I don't know, and the reason why me and Gary done CMW and we've done it the way we are, and we're trying to unite people in the way we are, is because it's been the byproduct of quite a lot of years of trial and error. All we wish, see, this is the thing. It's like, I don't know. I think many people put a lot of I don't know, kind of pressure on me and Gary. I can't run your group, okay? Gary can't run your group. What me and Gary can do is we can try to educate you how things should be. It's like, for instance,
Common law.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, it's like common law, right? Because a lot of people don't realise about common law. But a lot of common, they've got different aspects and different. Like common law is something that we can all agree on. So when we agree on the same point, that becomes common law. It has done throughout our history. So today, there is going to be some new common laws, and I am not in any doubt of that, because I can tell you now it's going to happen. Because I've had such advance to the point where, right, I don't know what people expected from me. I really don't. I get thousands of questions, answers, and all things like that, and they all amount to sort of the same thing. We need a common pool of not law. It's not fair. We need a common pool of what we call just actions, and that can be in many different facets, basically.
Well, I think the one thing that we must do is.
Sorry, Dennis.
Well, the one thing we got to do, Nath, is make sure no enforce lockdowns, coerce people with injections, threaten people to lose their jobs, their livelihoods.
Tyranny.
Yeah, tyranny, basically. Yeah, we mustn't allow tyranny again.
See, and that's it. See, this is where it intrigues me. Christopher, are you? I mean, again, please, plug your group, plug the people thing, please. Every time you speak, mention the people you're representing. Do you feel this is the same?
I would say our group, as I say, the focus is freedom to choose. Mostly
what is your group? Freedom to choose.
Freedom to choose, yeah.
Freedom to choose is the group, so that's what it's called. There's a website. It's a CIC, so it is a registered company, a charity. I can't remember the term now. Sorry, charity company. So you may boo that, and I understand, but we had.
You've got to remember, Chris. We basically we try and sort of like, I don't know. We like.
But we did it that way, Nathan, because it was just easier with the money, because we was collecting a bit of money, and I always just like to be totally safe and clear. Anyway, so we're a CIC. We're just a couple of groups in Essex, North Essex, and it's more of a community thing, should I say, over us actually doing anything physical or anything political or making a big difference. We're just making a difference for local people.
Pressure group.
Sorry, excuse me?
So pressure group.
Yeah, I mean, it's all different types of people there. Some of these people are relatively awake. Some don't want to know too much information. They just believe that we have the right to choose. And as I say, we have vaccinated and non-vaccinated members. That's not the issue. It's literally...
Shouldn't be an issue.
No, it should never have been an issue, Nathan. It should never have been. It's been made an issue again by you know who. That's what our group is. Have we got any kind of pathway forward? No, other than growing the groups and giving more people support, and that's it.
Yeah.
I can't see any other agenda. And freedom to choose obviously can expand into many different things in life, and at present in the US especially, freedom to choose hashtag really is for the what's the-
Can I ask a question about your group?
who's that? Yes, Nathan. Yes.
Yeah, yes, Nathan. Yeah. Well, actually, do you know what? From what I'm hearing, bang on. Actually, I'm loving the fact that you don't. Let me pick the right word. You don't discriminate.
Not at all. No.
I love that because I'm not funny. It's the same thing because I'm not funny. Most people won't know this, but we will learn more from our mistakes by the people that have taken it, and we will do that. And so we need we need unity on certain aspects.
We do need that unity
because it's information. Unless you have information, you don't have the right to say. Well, you do. You have the right to say. But unless you have the right to information, you don't have the right to. How can I say without seeming really? I mean, I've got to remember. You got to remember. I'm going to be attacked for this. Right. Well, I'm not going to say a certain point without correlative information. I'm gathering it. But we've already seen, and we really are. So with your group, okay, it's like you got memories, right? So if you come in on with CMW, you do know CMW don't control your group, no?
Don't control. Did you say?
We don't control your group. We don't do anything. You know that, don't you?
Yes, I understand that. Yeah, of course, yes.
You do realise your group is autonomous, so therefore is responsible for their own actions.
Yeah. I mean, yes. There's a committee together. I don't make the decisions. Put it that way. We're just a group.
Yeah, but you'd be
don't get me
surprised,
wrong.
Christopher. 2 seconds, knife. You'd be surprised, Christopher, how many people think that we want to come in and take over your group and tell your group we don't work anything like that at all. We don't get involved with anything that your group does. We just try and pass on and learn you about the Constitution and common law, basically. That's
We've
it.
had people, Gary. We've had people come to do talks. I mean, Tanya came along, didn't you, and done a little talk. We don't have an issue as long as it's on educational bits of information. And the group, yes, we'd like that. We'd like to listen. We did have Mark Devlin come once, but that wasn't That wasn't part of the freedom to choose. So we made that a separate thing. But a lot of our members attended that as such. The only thing we don't do at present is anything political because that always ends up in tears.
Well, we're not political anyway.
No. Yeah, no. Hence me saying that if you guys came to do a talk, I think it'd be warmly received. So yeah.
I mean, Chris, mate, you can ask any questions you like. I mean, please put to your audience any questions they want. Ask them in real time. We are not a fake movement. We are not a fake movement. We are a movement that's actually learned.
Dennis and Tanya know the theme of the group. You've seen how it is.
Yeah.
The people that are there.
They're very nice people.
They are.
Yeah, they're just sweet.
Very organised group.
They're just sweet people, you know, and they're just concerned. They just have a little bit of concern if it's for them or for their children or for whoever. Like all of us, you know, I'm concerned for my kids, but also for all the future generations, whoever they are. You know, my daughter's going to go off and marry someone. I don't want those people. I don't want anybody to be affected by what I can see happening. And as I say all the time, if we can have that unity between us all, something to work under, it will give us an awful powerful edge.
All I'll say is this: it's like CMW are pretty much straight down line. We're about law, certain things that we don't get into personal politics. We do delve into politics because politics involves law, but we can't delve into personal politics.
But that's fine.
So
I mean,
if you and another group have a problem, it's not a problem. We have no right to give one group more information than another. You understand it, yes?
Yes, I would assume so. Yes, yeah. I don't make the decisions for the group. They're just as there's a committee, and it's okay. I may have founded it, but I'm not the person in charge.
I don't mean Gary found it, but we understand more than you know. Honestly, it's like
Yeah. Well, if I'm honest, I don't know the subject too well, Nathan, Gary. So I'm not commenting too much. I'm not fully understanding of it. I know Tanya.
I implore you to ask questions to understand it. That's the whole point. Ask questions.
But I think I've gathered what I need to, like chatting to you guys. I don't know if I've got any direct questions. Maybe Tanya has. I don't know if you're still there, Tanya.
They will all come. I'll not be funny. We're only just starting. Give yourselves a moment. Understand that this is just happening. Build a foundation. Build on that foundation.
Yeah.
It works.
For me personally, I've never really been into politics myself. Like I said, I've never voted either. I only joined British Resistance last year. Obviously, I've been aware of the situation since 2020, when it first started, or just after. And obviously, my concern was for my children, not just my children, everyone else's.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same as you, Tanya. It's exactly the same.
Yeah. I was aware of the Constitution many years ago, but obviously I'm still learning as I'm going along because there's a lot to learn. But just digressing, actually, on the bills side of things, if, for example, you have no contract or the company has breached the contract with you, for example, cancelled your direct debits, etc., then what do you do from there?
Contract is void, therefore you.
Yeah, exactly what I thought. Thank you.
Void of a contract.
Null and void, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
Any party who breaches a contract, the contract is null and void on that aspect until the contract is re-established.
Yeah. Okay.
So if they've breached a contract, unless they've approached you to nullify the breach of contract, that contract is still breached.
So what do I do when I, for example, they did breach a contract completely, and I was paying it, and then they tried to re-establish that, if you like. It was actually water company, which with them I sort of I'd obviously done my research, and I suggested
my initial answer would be on what you just said is probably because the initial contract was unlawful.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, since then I've obviously had a bill. So how do I send that back? Just send it back or say no contract?
You've got a bill.
Yeah.
Have you actually got a bill or a notification to pay?
I'm not actually sure. I'm not really.
Because bills were stopped in the 80s.
Right, okay, well, notice to pay then.
Right. I mean, if you want me to pay you some money, you need to send me some documentation to say I owe you that money. And prove with that. If you don't, I don't owe you the money.
Yeah. Well,
I don't understand how people think. I don't understand how people think it's different if it's them that is a company.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, my issue when they tried to re-establish.
Companies have more than owners.
Okay. My issue when they tried to re-establish a contract was purely for the fact that I'd done my research and I know what chemicals, etc., go into the water, and I wanted a list of them. I actually wanted them to come and test it.
I know. 2 seconds.
Sorry.
Did they re-establish a contract, or was it an established contract ongoing?
No, they didn't, because I said to them, I'm not contracting until you come and test my water.
Right, well,
and assure me that there's no harmful chemicals in it.
You can't just not contract. You need to see a breach in contract before you can break.
No, but they breached they cancelled my direct debits themselves. I didn't do that.
Oh, so an action brought an action.
So my point was that I refused. No, I didn't say I refused. I said until you can come and prove to me that my water is safe, and then I'm willing to obviously amend
Actually, that involves about 10 contracts there. That's very well done. That's actually quite clever. That's well done.
Oh, that's not the best of it. I won't go on. I'll tell you some other time.
I know, but it does. But it involves health and safety. What you've
Yeah.
just done involves health
Well,
and
yeah,
safety,
exactly.
and because that's what you led with.
Yeah.
What you
Well, one
called
point
in
it was that the water was actually burning my
multiple-
skin, and I told
Have
them
you
that.
Have you got eczema?
No, I used to have. Fortunately, I do a lot of health products and focusing on my health as well because I have been
So the
poorly
high
myself.
chloride and the high chloride will actually affect you. So
Yeah.
therefore, they're causing.
Yeah. Well, potentially. Who knows?
Well, I'm not going to keep going about your personal stuff online. I'm sorry, I can't do this. But no, look, also this is what I'm talking about. This is how you conversate to get into a legal conversation to the point where you'll understand what is and what isn't. Most people just think that you just go, common law, and it works. No,
No.
you need to pick out. We need to pick and choose our fights, and not be funny. It's like tonight. It's like Christopher. Thank you, Christopher. If you don't mind piping up again, just saying hello.
Yeah, I can say hello. So I can't always hear you very clearly, so I don't know if that's just my Nathan.
No, but it's like what you said tonight. It's like what you said tonight, mate. It's like I could make 10 shows out of. It's like what?
Oh, right.
And this is the whole point. CMW are going to give you a platform to moan, and we're going to try and give you the legal aspects of what you're saying to the lawful aspects, and we'll move forward. And hopefully, we'll move forward where many groups get to understand the fact that they can do what they need to do, and they don't need permission.
Well, I'm sure a lot of our members would find that useful. I know a lot of people are doing what Tanya's talking about. They're trying to not pay certain bills, be it the council tax, isn't it?
No, I'm not trying to
See,
not
it's not
pay
about.
bills
See,
at
the
all.
thing is, it's not about
Totally
paying
different.
that bills, right?
Mm.
Get this out of your head now.
Yeah.
You're not stopping paying bills.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't mind paying the bill, but government are going to have to prove that they are actually doing it.
Yeah. I haven't got the right terminology there, but there's a few people that are going through that process in our group. It's a lot of palaver, I can tell you. They're putting a lot of work into it. So.
Well, Chris, do me a favour, speak to Bill Gary or some of our group, and we'll try and give you a few little shortcuts and we'll give you a little pointers on certain ways of doing it where you can hold to account and they can't say nothing.
Yeah, I'm sure that was going to be very interesting for some of our members. So, yes, great.
Do you know what I find funny, Christopher?
Yes, Gary, tell me.
When I was in Belarus, I've been in Belarus for the last 2.5 years. I only got back in June. All the while I was in Belarus, I never got kicked out of anything. I come online and I was on right from start to finish. Since I've been back from Belarus, it keeps kicking me off, and I'm in this country the same as everybody else. It keeps kicking me out. I have to keep coming back in. But when I wasn't in the country, I never got kicked out once. I think that's very strange, I do.
A lot of the people that I listen to sometimes would get kicked off. Who is it? Brian Harvey I listened to. He was always getting kicked off of YouTube. There's a few of them that get attacked, don't they? So.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I can go on YouTube. I could be on this same panel from Belarus.
And you're fine.
Click on the link from Belarus and I never get kicked off once.
Yeah. Try staying on and being me. I'm not even allowed to speak anymore.
I wonder why.
Because I don't know where you are, Nathan. I can't even see you. Oh, I can. Black screen.
Black screen, yeah.
I know, literally, my laptop's just going haywire tonight. I can't get my camera on. I can't see.
My phones have been doing that for a very long time.
But as I keep saying, I can and will prove in law what I say. So it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter how much they shut me off. With people like Christopher, Tanya, all that lot, we'll get our story through. They will.
Definitely.
for the people, yeah, we need to unite. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Good.
this is just the start, really. Once we can say, right, we can all get on. Now, once we can all get on, and we know that nobody's going to try and take over anybody else, and blah 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 blah, and the trust is there, and develop a trust, then you bring somebody else, and then somebody else, and that's how you grow it, basically.
I don't disagree, but we need to. My opinion would be that we'd need to have something that we can all agree on, and that be agreed to, and then move forward. Yes, yeah.
But this is where I think we need you and 2 delegates from your party, Christopher, and we need to come to the table and we need to talk offline.
Absolutely, yeah, because you can all make verbal agreements, but things need to be written down and agreed upon.
The thing is, with us, Christopher, there is no verbal agreement. The only verbal agreement you ever go by is living by your natural rights and natural law. And we don't differentiate for that. All we can do is basically help you so you don't put yourself into a legal quandary. Because if your group legally make yourself accountable to them, that's your problem. That's not ours.
Yeah, which is fine. That's not a problem.
But they know little words and little tricks, you see, Christopher.
Yeah.
And before you know it, boom, they've got you. And
well, I mean,
that's
to be
what
honest with you, we do our group very lightly. I don't get too involved or too deep, and I have had businesses in the past, and I've had contracts, I've had issues, and I've done a lot of crap and a load of mistakes, as everybody does. So we try and keep what we do right down the middle. Don't get involved in anything that's going to come back on any of us, and it is just purely a support group for anybody, and not against it.
No, but like how you said you got people going off doing this, that, and the other, trying to be the council tax. What we're trying to say is we can come and help you, where we can show you the sort of traps I put in with the wording and etc. That'll trap you, and you don't even realise you've been trapped till it's too late.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean, yeah, I've got a bit of experience with contracts and having signed things in the past I shouldn't have done. So I'm very wary already, but nonetheless, there's going to be a lot of desperate people in short period of time that may get.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, actually, Christopher. There's going to be a lot of desperate people, so there needs to be decent. Decent people.
Yeah, and that can fall upon some decent advice, because people are going to get desperate, I can see, and we need, again, I'll go back to it, what we've all said is we need something that we can all work under to support all of us, all of us in our little journeys. We're only a little group, we're nothing big.
None of us are big groups, my son. We're all little groups making a big.
That's it, and we're making a positive. We're all positive. We're making good.
We're all supporting each other, and that's important as well.
We are,
and I do try and support quite a few groups out there as well.
I've been to lots and in the parks and lots of different ones, and I've always found the people more or less always the same, and always a diverse array of people. But everybody's usually got the same kind of, when people are right or wrong.
Yeah.
Got the same kind of heart, So.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Well, exactly right. That's the same as us. We know more or less all about the Constitution, the common law, etc. But we still can't do it alone. We still need other people, and we need to get on with other people, and people need to get on with us. And we all need to unite and stand as one if we're going to get this job done. Because now, like Nathan said, like we've all said, no 1 or 2 or 10 or 12 people are going to go along and do this by themselves. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Don't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter how much you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're with you on that, Gary. I understand that.
And that's basically once we can, like you've said, Christopher, if you can get everybody singing off the same hymn sheet,
Yeah.
that's the biggest bonus you can ever have anywhere, because you've got something to focus on then.
That is, it's getting that hymn sheet that is just written correctly, that all of the different diverse communities we've got in this country alone that are similar minded to us, they can see what's happening, can unite under that concept.
Yeah.
So it needs to welcome everybody.
And that's why we always that's why we went for Article 61, because it's not mine and Nathan's idea, it's nobody's idea, it's what our ancestors left for us, and we just got to pick up that baton and carry on with it. That's why we chose Article 61.
If we could all live under that, the world, it sounds like the world would be a much better place for all of us.
But that's why we picked that.
It used to be. It really did used to be.
Probably, yeah. It's not today.
No, not probably. He actually was. This is the thing, right? I am actually really. Do you know what? I'm gonna let it go on 20 more minutes. I am, but I have to. Literally, I've got so much stuff I have to send off. I inundated. I've got about.
You sound in pain tonight, Nathan. I've got to be honest.
I ain't gonna lie, mate. My ear's pounding.
That's what I mean. I could tell when you've you ain't well, basically. You know, when you've got
I'm not well.
like what's it, headaches and stuff.
Right, no. You need to look after yourself.
I know, but we've got Lance and we've got other things saying this is hard to know.
There's a nice atmosphere in this group. I really like it, Nathan, Gary. So thanks for inviting me. There's a nice balance.
No, thank you, Chris. Please be. You're more than welcome to be a conscious compartment of the whole thing. It'd be nice if we all spoke regularly. Right, I'm going to say one thing as well. It's like goes to this way. So yes, I'm having a lot of headaches and everything. So it's not good for me right now.
We'll call it a night,
I'm
mate.
doing my best.
No,
We've call it a night, mate. Call it a night.
Yeah, I think we've gone through an awful lot tonight. I've learned quite a bit. I understand better, and I'm looking forward to tell the other group members, and I'm sure Dennis and Tanya will.
It's not just this tonight. I'm doing this tonight, but I've also run in parallel. I've got 3 court cases I'm running parallel, so I'm a bit stressed.
Oh, I can imagine, mate. Yeah.
I'm trying.
Need to teach people what you know, Nath, and then we can help you.
This is my point.
Yeah.
This is what I'm teaching.
Well, we've been doing it for nearly an hour and a half now, so I think everybody deserves that.
Yeah, you don't need to be no longer than an hour and a half. I don't think anyway, because people get bored.
Yeah. do call it a night, mate. Yeah, get your head down, mate.
Yeah.
Well, I won't get my head down. I've got 2 hours to go yet, at least. But I do thank you for everyone coming on. Actually, I thank you so much for all just like cutting it short, because it does help me. It really does.
Thank you for having us too.
Thank you for being on.
But this is what we need. This is we need. Thank you, Christopher. Do you know what? It's like I said the first time when Dennis and Tanya come on. I can't thank you enough.
No.
When we actually have the balls to do this, our society will change.
Let's hope that we get to where we need to get to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can only say this: as much as you and all your group are doing, I can only hope that CMW can help you in doing what you're doing.
I'm sure it can. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
So thanks for Dennis and Tanya for connecting me up as well.
Thank you, Chris, as well.
Thank you, Chris.
Right, mate.
And we'll see you next week at the meeting.
Yeah, definitely. Same place, same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Sound
good.
So wrap it up then, Nath.
Yeah, wrap it up, Nath. We'll speak to you soon, Gary.
Yeah, we'll speak to you.
Yes, good to speak to you all again. And hopefully this is the start of something good.
Yeah.
I
Positive
apologise
things
to
ahead.
everyone for not being on par. I'm not well.
No,
We've
you're
done
not.
well. It's been a good
Well
show.
done, man.
Right. Love you all. Thank you very much. And all these people that have come tonight, these are the people that you actually really actually want to look at. I know we have all the PayPal patriots and how can I say it? Pick me patriot. We know that, but we have some decent patriots who are actually grassroots trying to change things.
Mm.
Where would you like to be? The fake or the true? Because we've got
Exactly.
people
Yeah.
like Christopher,
Exactly, mate.
True.
people like Dennis, we've got people like
Yeah.
Tanya. You've got
Yeah,
people
so-
actually sacrificing for you.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And we're talking a big group of people sacrificing their values for you to make life better for you, and yet you want to pick the short. Like I said. Right. Christopher, and again, can you please just, please just tell you about yourself and what you're doing so people know, so after this they can go and search you.
Yeah, sure. We're Christopher from Freedom to Choose. You'll find us online, freedomtochoose.org.uk. And it's community groups to support people that have been coerced into taking the vaccinations. And bearing in mind our members are both vaccinated and non-vaccinated, they just agree with our principle that nobody should be forced into doing it or losing their job or be alienated or targeted. That's mainly what our focus is. And we just got nice, friendly groups, very diverse people. We get together, we get things off our chest. There's people going through relationship problems or work problems. We've had nurses potentially losing their job. We're there to give them a little hug or somebody to go for a cup of tea with. So that's what we're about, really. We meet once a week. We have 2 local groups, and we're always looking for more groups. If people have got enough members that need help, we're looking to expand. But for now, we're quite happy with our 2 nice kind of friendly groups that we've got, of which Dennis and Tanya pop along to as well. So that's what we do at Freedom to Choose.
Okay, see, Freedom to Choose. Please take a look. Even if you don't like it, take a look.
Thank you.
There's nothing wrong in not taking a look. You take a look, you don't like it, you move somewhere else.
Exactly.
Okay.
Freedom to choose.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's good to see you again, Dennis. It's good to see you as well. Not see you, but hear you, and you, Tanya.
And you.
And,
You, Gary.
and
people need to
hopefully do it
Constitutional
again
movement
next week or
worldwide.
something. Yeah.
Sorry.
And hopefully we do it again next week or something when Nathan's a bit better.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Take care, Nate.
We'll set something up anyway. And
Right,
obviously we'll
then,
see it in the.
I'm sorry, I
we'll-
haven't been well.
I'll see it in the
That's
group.
right, Nathan, man. Yeah, get yourself sorted.
Yeah, pressure.
See,
Thank
ladies
you.
and gentlemen, a lot of people don't realise with Nathan, he ain't very forthcoming with his illnesses, and it's a shame because it's not his fault. Basically, he's got 2 aneurysms in his head, and he has really bad cluster headaches, which then he has to take painkillers for. So then painkillers obviously knock him about, and then that's why he's a bit, what's the name, with his talking and that. But I'll pick up on it straight away. I just picked up on it there. That's why I said, let's get it in, because I know he ain't well when he gets to
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Well,
Right,
it's
let's
not because he's
call it a night so Nathan can get himself sorted, Gary.
yeah,
Yes,
but
Dave.
it's not because it's not because he's drinking or anything else like that. It's just because he's genuinely on his head. His cluster headaches get
I'm
that bad. He
genuinely
has to have
pain.
painkillers. Yeah.
I'm genuinely
Yeah.
pain. And
Sorry, mate.
So
not nice waking
And if-
up. I'm going to sit in pain.
no, but that's the crust of it anyway. So at least everybody knows now.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
And that'd be the reason why it's like I'm not as quick to get back to you, but it's like I do try. I really do.
You do well, Nate.
Yeah, Nathan, man, yeah, you do brilliantly.
Yeah.
I fight my own battles, and most people don't understand that. But they will.
Mm.
So let's wrap it up then, Knife, and speak to you guys next week. I'll see it in the group anyway shortly, probably
Yes.
on Telegram, one of the groups, or all of them, what we're all in.
Yeah, we're going to put it on there now.
Yeah, sound.
Well, do you know what?
All
It's
right.
been a nice one. It's been a long
Been
one.
great.
Because we've actually been able to speak. They've been able to talk. This is the foundation for what I'm about to do. So, thank you for all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nave.
Take care, all.
Yeah, we'll see you soon, Chris.
See you soon.
Well,
Right.
can we not thank me, and can we thank you that participated, because it's you, not the motor show.
Well, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be on here, would we?
There you go.
I digress. I don't think it would be me.
All right, then.
I think in any alternate reality you speak, I think whether it be me or someone else, it would be someone. So praise can't be with
But
me.
it wouldn't be me because I'm shit at technology like this. I wouldn't even know how to do it. So
Same.
definitely wouldn't be me.
Well, it's been lovely, and please submit questions. And I mean submit questions. Anyone who wants to ask. I'm about to end the live. Love you all.
Cheers.
Take care now.
Take care, mate.
Lots of love to you too.
Still out the knife.
Bye.
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 Bye.